So I've been doing options for about 10 years, and one thing that's very clear, selling options is a bazillion times easier than buying options. This is how I scaled to $1.2 million in just a few years through bull markets and bear markets. No day trading, no gambling, no doing any of that stupid stuff. We're going to talk about how options are supposed to work right now, when to buy options and when to sell options. We're also going to go straight into the trades. I'll set this up in real time for you guys side by side of why selling options is better than buying options. We're also going to set all of this up on the charts. It's going to make crystal clear sense for you after this video. All right, so let's just start off on the trade ticket right here for Charles Schwab. No matter what broker you have, it's obviously still going to apply, but it might look a little bit different. You can see I have a little bit of cash in my account right now, but my buying power, I do have a couple million bucks ready to go to capitalize when it makes sense. But let's just set this up. So let's go to Triple Q. We'll do all this stuff on Triple Q. This is the NASDAQ. But again, it doesn't matter what ticker or company or ETF we do this on. It's going to apply for everything. So Triple Q. Now we're going to go to strategy for a call option. That's what we're going to start off with. And we're going to go to buy to open. We're going to buy a call option right now. So let's say that we're bullish. You could buy a call option like we're setting up right now, or you could sell a put option. And we're going to compare them side by side of which one's better, which one's worse. And we're going to understand crystal clearly why one is obviously better, easier, more consistent. You get the cash flow, all that good stuff. But there is a time and a place for buying options too, so we'll cover that also. So for expiration date, let's just pick 1 year out for everything just to keep it very, very consistent. We'll go into short durations in a little bit too, but let's just go 1 year out from right now. So we're going to go to January of 2027. We're going to buy a call option. Now you guys know by watching my videos, I usually always like to buy call options that are just a little bit out of the money, because if I go buy a call option that's like super deep in the money, it doesn't make sense for me to do this. Because look at how much I'm going to have to pay to control those shares. I might as well just go buy the shares and not have to deal with an expiration date because, hey, maybe I'm bullish and then the share price goes down. I wouldn't want to have to have that much money right there, like almost $40,000 tied to something that could expire worthless. If I'm going to spend 40 grand, I'm just going to go buy the share straight up. And before we go any further, it's just like, dude, I talk to so many people and it's like their entire portfolios in like 6-month call options or even shorter than that. And I'm like, dude, you're just one market crash away from literally getting wiped out to a value of zero. Why would you want to have 100% of your account tied to something with an expiration date? Yes, I go buy call options sometimes, but dude, having 100% of your account tied to something with an expiration date, that is just insane. And I get it, the last couple years in the market, it's been literally straight up, so everyone has all this confidence to go buy call options, but that's honestly when it's the most dangerous time to do it. So please get your portfolio allocated in a way where you could survive a 40, if not 50% crash, because I can pretty much guarantee you if you have your portfolio allocated like most people, you will not. So for strike price on my options when I buy calls, I usually like to go a little bit out of the money. So 626 bucks. Let's just say that we go out and we buy the $630 call option. So you can see we're 1 year out, we're going to pay $62 per share. And if we keep this very simple, our break even is going to be 62 bucks plus $630 for the strike. So break even here is going to be roughly $692. So let's flip over to the charts and let's think about this logically. Like, do we really think that Triple Q is going to go up to our break even of $692 in 1 year? Let's think about what the stock has to do. So what I'm going to do is draw a vertical line right here. We're going to go all the way out until January of 2027. I will run this line all the way up to January of 2027 right there. This corresponds to our expiration date. Okay, makes sense. Now, if I move the scale a little bit, how much does the share price actually have to go up to get back to our break even? Again, it's $692 per share is going to be our break even. We're just adding these two things together. 692 bucks. Where is $692 on the right-hand side? We're going to go right here, $692. So you're going to say, well, Brandon, it only has to go up 10.4% and I'm going to break even on that call option. And I'm going to say, yeah, that's very, very possible. But if we look to the left on this chart a little bit and you see how much the market's been up in the last couple years, like, dude, do you think it's typical for the NASDAQ to go up literally 142% in 3 years? Is that normal? Is that typical? No, of course not. And it's no surprise that the market valuation right now is very high. The market was kind of cheap right here. Now the market's a little bit expensive up here. So by buying this call option, you're saying I need the market to keep going up even though it's already a little bit expensive, and I need 10% at a minimum just to break even on this trade right there. Like, does that click for you why buying call options is sometimes hard to do? Like, sure, how much money can you make on this trade? I mean, theoretically, Triple Q can go to infinity and you can make infinity profit. Are you actually going to make infinity? No. But I'm just saying, like, you need a lot to happen. Like, not only do you need the share price to go up 10%, but you need it to go up 10% in this 1 year duration right here. So again, it's like very, very hard for that to actually play out. Like, think about it right here. If you would have bought call options right here, like, yes, if you would have went a year out, you would have made a lot of money. But would you have actually had the guts to hold through what happened in Liberation Day right here? Most retail option traders would have gotten smoked right here. So the time to clearly buy call options was down here and it was obvious. And yes, I was buying some call options down here. I was selling some put options down here. And I'm not saying I timed the bottom of the market perfectly, but the market was a lot cheaper right here than what it was right here. So rules for buying call options. Number one, like, yes, you can make a lot of money doing it. We'll cover selling options here in a minute and why selling options is better. But buying call options, yes, you could make a lot of money, but your timing has to be right. Your directionality has to be correct also. So doing those two things is honestly so much harder than what you actually think. And even if you feel like a company is cheap and it's undervalued, the overall market looks good, the macro thesis is good, the economy looks good, it doesn't mean that that company is going to go up in a timing that you need it to go up. So this kind of builds into like why I love longer duration option contracts because dude, doing this on a 1 year period is hard enough. Like if we flip back to the chart, nobody on planet Earth knows what the market's going to do in a 1 month period. So when you're buying options with especially like shorter duration contracts, it's nuts to try to bet on that stuff. It's just gambling. You're flipping a coin and hoping that it goes your way. You have no tailwinds of growth behind you, no tailwind of that company trying to boost their profits. You have none of those tailwinds behind you. And a little bit more on the rules for buying call options that I've learned in the last 10 years. Number one, the company has to be trading near or below intrinsic value, just the true value of the company. The overall market has to be relatively fair valued. If you're doing a call option on Nvidia, for example, but the overall market is a bubble, one, and if the overall market crashes, it's going to bring Nvidia down with it too. So you have to understand where the overall market valuation is at. On top of that, the company must have a moat, pricing power, durable competitive advantage, and you got to hold that company for the long term. I'm not going to take a magnified bet because that's what options are, just a magnified bet. I'm never going to make a magnified bet on something like Quantum or a company that is very speculative, super high valuation level, because I need a very deep margin of safety in every single thing that I do. I don't play games with short duration stuff. I don't play games with speculation. I don't play games with options that aren't actually going to work out in the long term. I am ultimately here to make money just like you probably are. And I will show you my compound annual growth rate in just a little bit for the last 7 years to show you that I do beat the market in the long term. But you have to follow these rules right here for buying call options. If you don't, you're going to get in big trouble. Now, there's one other thing that we have to talk about, and that is called theta. Every day that goes by when you buy an option contract, that contract is going down in value because you need this 10% move to happen in 1 year. But what happens if the market is sideways all the way up to this point right here on the tip of my cursor? You now have 6 months left for that share price to go up by 10%. Is it more likely to happen in a year or is it more likely to happen in 6 months? Definitely in a year. So that's why when we flip over to Charles Schwab and we go check the premiums on this stuff, notice how you're going to pay $62 for a 1 year contract. But if we do a 6-month contract, take a look at how much you're going to pay for that. It's roughly half-ish because it's half-ish chance of that contract actually going up to that share price, up to your break even, and truly making money on this contract. So if you're going to go buy call options, dude, you better have a lot of conviction in that trade because it's very, very hard to actually do this in the real world. Now, as you guys watch all my other videos on this channel, this line right here corresponds to where the earnings per share growth of the NASDAQ is actually at. I already did all the math on the back end. I have previous videos covering how this line actually works. But don't really think about this too hard. Don't make your brain hurt. Down here, the market was undervalued because it was well below the earnings per share growth line. Up here a little bit expensive, down here a little bit cheap, up here a little bit expensive. So kind of like what I was building into before. Isn't it clear that the market is a little bit overvalued right here? And then here you are buying call options hoping the market's going to keep going up. You know, if we really base this out and say, well, where's the market at right now? Where's the earnings per share growth line at in roughly 1 year from now? If I extend it all the way to the right without messing up the chart, it's basically evenish if I would go all the way to the top right here. So that's why I'm expecting a 2026 where we're not going to have astronomical stock market returns because we need time for earnings growth to catch up because earnings growth is a number one thing, hands down, that moves the price of a stock or an index or an ETF, whatever it is, in the long term. So when you're buying call options up here, it's very, very hard to do. Okay, now we're going to flip back to Charles Schwab. Let's talk about selling options, how I generate roughly $30,000 per month in this account by selling stock options. I get cash flow, but to be honest with you, it's not going to be cash flow every single month consistently. Most of the time it is consistent, but I'm just being transparent with you guys. Like, I guess we'll look at the chart really, really quick again. Like, do you think I'm selling as many put options up here? No, I'm selling a little bit less put options up here, but I'm selling a crap ton of put options down here when it's very compelling. Down here, selling a lot. Up here, not selling as much because fundamentally speaking, the future expected returns for the market up here is not as good as what it was down here. The market is cheap, it's undervalued, fundamentally it's undervalued. It's better to do that stuff down here, all the bullish option trades down here. Because at the end of the day, options are just a way to magnify an ultra high confidence play. If you're bullish, go buy shares. And if you're ultra bullish, go sell some puts. If you're ultra bullish, go buy call options. That's kind of like the hierarchy of difficulty to make money on a bullish side of the trade. But let's flip over to Charles Schwab really quick and let's plug all of this stuff in so that it makes sense. So we're on Triple Q. We're going to go down here to a put option. And now what we're going to do is sell to open. Sell to open. We're going to sell one contract and we're going to go out to the 1/15 of 2027 expiration date. Now here's the thing about it. Triple Q is at $626 per share right now. What expiration date am I going to pick? We talked about 1 year. What strike price am I going to pick? Well, here's how this goes down. If I'm bullish enough to sell a put option, that would imply that I think that Triple Q is cheap at $626 per share. At the time of recording this video, I do not think it's super cheap, but I'm just doing this for the example with you guys. So we're going to assume that 626, we'll just say this is intrinsic value, the true value that Triple Q should be trading at. We'll make that assumption for the video. So here's what I'm going to do for the strike price. I don't want to sell a 630 put. That's an in-the-money put. I want to sell something a little bit lower that builds more margin of safety. So I'm going to go out and sell the $580 put. So what is my break even on this trade? Well, think about it. I'm doing a Triple Q put, sell to open, so I'm collecting this cash flow right here. Somebody is paying me this cash flow. I'm kind of like the insurance company selling the insurance policy. I am saying that I will buy your shares from you for $580 per share anytime between right now and 1/15 of 2027. Now let's think about that. I collect this premium no matter what. When I sell this put, this goes in my cash balance immediately in my account. I could go withdraw it, I could go blow it, I could go reinvest it, which usually I do go reinvest it, because if I'm bullish enough to sell the put, why would I not want to buy more shares with this premium? That's exactly what I would do. And of course, I'm selling these puts portfolio secured, not cash secured. That's a whole other story. I will link a video at the end of this one covering that. But where's my break even on this trade right here? 580 is the strike price. But what is 580 minus 30? That's going to be $550. So my break even right here, I'm writing this down, $550 so nobody forgets, okay? Let's figure out how this actually pans out on a chart and what we actually need to happen to make money. $550 is going to be my break even. Where is that at from right now? 550. And I'm going to click right there, okay? See how it's minus 12%? So what has to happen for me to make full profit on this option trade right here by selling a put option? Think about the call option first. I need it to go up 10% just to break even. But selling a put option, what has to happen? The share price could go up and I make money. The share price could go flat and I make money. The share price could even go down 12% and I still break even on the trade. So think about what I need to happen versus the person that is buying the call option needs to happen. Like, I'm going to color code this red again because it's just so much harder to do. They have this little buffer window right there, but I have the window of the market could go up, stay flat, or go down to this price right here, and I still am okay. That is the benefit of selling options versus buying options. And again, I'm not going to go buy options up here. I'm not going to go sell options up here on Triple Q. It's clearly overvalued, but down here I definitely would. And the thing that so many retail investors say is like, well, Brandon, you know, by selling this put option, the max profit you're going to make is $3,000 per contract. Like, come on, like I want to make more than that. And they're going to say, well, that's why I want to go buy a call option. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You can make more money on call options, but that's kind of like going to a casino and saying, I'm going to put $10 in a slot machine to try to win a $50,000 jackpot. Like, yes, you could win more, but are you actually going to win more at the end of the day? So I correlate selling put options with swinging for a first base hit playing baseball. But buying options, like buying call options, is trying to swing for a home run every single time. Would you rather get on first and second base almost every single time and be consistent with it? Or would you rather swing for the home run and most of the time you're probably going to strike out? Me personally, like, I sell options, I buy options, but I'm going to be straight with you guys right now. I only buy call options when it is ultra obvious. Like down here, I was buying shares. I was selling put options long duration, like 1 or 2 years out. I was taking the premium from those options on the ultra high convicted plays. I was taking those premiums and then going and buying call options with that. But again, you have to wait for the right time to do this in the market. I'm not claiming I could time the bottom of the market perfectly. Nobody on earth could. But if you just do it anywhere in this time frame right here where the market is clearly undervalued, you sell puts long duration, you buy call options long duration, you have the tailwind of earnings per share growth at your back, which is going to help you. And you also have the tailwind of, hey, I'm buying something for less than what it's actually worth. This company's worth $100. I'm buying it for $80 right here. That's a buffer. On top of that, I'm selling these put options way out at a lower strike price than where the current market price is at. You just realize how you have a huge margin of safety in these trades when you do it the way that I do it. Now, I read all the comments and I see a lot of people wondering how this strategy works through a bull market, how it works through a bear market, because everybody's like, oh my God, Brandon, you're taking on all this extra risk right here. What if the market keeps going down? I just want to show you that the proof is in the pudding. So we're going to run my compound annual growth rate on Charles Schwab portfolio performance. We're going to go from December of 2019 to right now. Literally right before COVID happened. So there's no one saying, oh my God, you would have got wiped out in COVID. Let's take a look at how I did. I'm going to throw myself to the top right so I'm out of the way. But take a look at this. Your portfolio had a cumulative rate of return of 304% from December 31st of 2019 to 2026. Annualized 26%. How does that compare versus the S&P and the NASDAQ? Well, I did 26% per year. S&P did 15, NASDAQ did 18. This is a chart right here. This is all proof right here to show you guys that I beat the market in bull markets and bear markets and ended up with a lot more money at the end of the day. So a huge caveat with the system, especially people that just come into my Discord and don't really understand the system. If we go to the My Trades channel, I walk through all the trades that I do every single time that I do it. I do these audio updates breaking down what I did, why I did it, all that good stuff. But the thing about it is people say, Brandon, why do you only make a few trades a month? Why don't you make 14 trades a day like I'm used to doing? Do you want to know why? Because there's not always opportunities every single month. There's usually something we could find every single month, but it's like there's not 14 opportunities per month usually. In April, yes, there was a crap ton of opportunities, but there's not always opportunities every single month. So on balance, yes, I generate roughly $30,000 per month of consistent option cash flow by selling puts, but it's not 30K every single month. Maybe some months it's going to be $100,000. Maybe some months it's going to be $5,000. But when you figure out all the premium that you make over the course of a year and then divide it by 12, it does roughly come out to $30,000 per month. And that also kind of correlates with what Warren Buffett does. We don't see Warren Buffett going out there and making trades every single month. He makes trades when it makes sense to do it. He strikes and he strikes hard. Me and Warren are striking really hard down here. Me and Warren are starting to strike right here. Meanwhile, you're trying to do these short duration option calls that you're buying or short duration options that you're selling, doing it all through this time frame right here because you don't have the patience or the discipline to sit on your hands and wait for a true deal to come through. So that is why most investors and most retail investors, they get smoked, they lose money in the long term, and they don't even beat the S&P 500. I just showed you my compound annual growth rate. I've been beating the S&P since literally right before COVID with this system. So the moral of the story is this. Selling options is clearly easier than buying options. You need less to happen. The share price could go up with the sold put. It could go flat. It could go down to the strike price. It could go down to the strike price minus the premium per share that you receive, and you still break even on that contract. Meanwhile, buying options, yes, you can make more money, but it is a lot riskier. It's like swinging for that home run versus selling options is going for that base hit. I like to go for base hits usually, but when it's ultra compelling, and it's not going to happen every single day, but when it is ultra compelling, I will buy call options and I will capitalize. And usually it works out. I'm not saying I'm going to make money on every single trade, but I just showed you my true ROI, my true compound annual growth rate, and it does beat the market in the long term, which is better than 98% of people watching this video right now. So that being said, if you want to watch the video more about how I do this system, selling portfolio secured puts, not cash secured puts, learning more about longer duration options and how you could actually beat the market in the long term doing this, watch the video right here. It can help you out a lot, and I'll see you guys there.